here's an area where there's a heating system. Here's another heating system over here. Here's a water heater. And voila. Here's a sub panel right there. And see, there's all kinds of other circuits here. I'll get you in there closer. See, these are 15 amp, and it's just a twin. It's called a twin breaker with two different circuits on there. One 15 amp circuit there, one 15 amp circuit there. So see, here's 15s, here's 20. That's two 20 amp circuits. And sometimes they even have twins that one is 20 and one's 15. And then usually there's someplace on here that says where they're at. Now see here, we're gonna look at these: family room, GFI, kitchen lights, laundry, GFI, kitchen lights. It's not next to the kitchen furnace, jetted bath, guest room, study, laundry lights, entry lights. It could be that one. Here's rec room lights, master lights. Let's see, we're gonna have to just pick one. And see, I'm gonna check laundry lights, entry lights, and that's number 9. And see, one side of the panel are odd numbers and one are even. You can see there's a number 1 sideways, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11 over here, 2, 4, 6. See, they're sideways, 8, 10. Okay, so when I look at that rec room, let's see, laundry lights, entry lights is number 9. And I come over here and you'll see them. It's hard to see it, but see, that's number 9, that's there. Laundry lights is the top one, so I'm gonna turn that one off. I'm not sure if that one's it or not. And I may have to come back and forth. If that's not it, I'll have to come back down here and check another one. And if you've got somebody else upstairs or downstairs, wherever, you can get on the cell phone with them and say, okay, is that it? They can say no, yes, no, yes. You keep flipping some breakers. But I'm here trying to get this taken care of on my own. So I'm gonna go up there, check it out, and then come back and just, if it's not that one, then I'll turn this breaker back on and then try another one. You know, start making some guesswork and that kind of thing. Okay, back and forth you go. And if you have a sub panel, you can do that. If you don't have a sub panel, if you just have one panel outside, smaller house, maybe you only have one panel, look at that and you're gonna have to start guessing. It's either gonna be a 15 amp circuit or a 20 amp circuit, okay? And this one is a 15. We're gonna go check that out and see if that's the one. I wasn't gonna show you this part, but here's another tip for you. Yes, it's all about tips. You never know what Joe's going to say next, right? I actually came down here and turned it back on, and I thought, oh, there's a tip I want to tell you about. So I ran back down here with my video camera, spending a little bit of extra time on here talking to you about this breaker. Now, all you should have to do is turn it back on. Okay, I'm going to turn it back on. It should click. It should line up with the other one. But if you have it off and you go and try to turn it back on and it wants to go on fast, and all of a sudden it backs up and it stops halfway, let's say, you think, I don't know what's going on, what's happening, you keep trying to turn it to the right and it doesn't go on, doesn't go on, it doesn't go on, that means that the circuit has tripped and that whatever you've done has done something improperly, or maybe a wire nut got loose from a wire nut, maybe there was another existing wire nut that you didn't pull out of the box because you didn't think you needed to. As you were pushing everything else in there, it kind of pushed on that and one of the wires was loose in that one or something. Either way, stop what you're doing and go back, and if it's tripped, it'll mean that there's no power to it. But if it is tripped, what you have to do is then you have to take it and push it as hard as you can. Sometimes you have to push pretty hard to turn it to the off position, okay? Then you can turn it back on after you look at the box and figure out what's going on. Okay, Some people don't realize that if any breaker trips and you can't turn it back on. I had a friend of mine one time, he called me from Maui and I was on the mainland. He says, hey Joe, we can't get our lights back on. Everything's dark and the power's off to the light switches and everything in the bathroom. What do we have to do? We tried to turn the breaker back on and he wasn't turning, it had tripped and he wasn't pushing it hard enough to snap off before he tried to turn it back on. And sure enough, he turned it off and then he turned it back on and it snapped on, and it only tripped because they had plugged in a heating iron for your hair and a hair dryer at the same time or something, and it overloaded the actual circuit, and that's why the breaker tripped. It wasn't anything that he was doing wrong, but I walked him through it and sure enough he was able to turn it back on. Okay, so there's a tip for you if that breaker were to trip and not go all the way back on. Okay, so now we're going to go back up. This was, okay, there. Now we're going to go back up and check out our switch. Well, that's all I got for this time, but I'll be back with more videos.